What does it take to create a vibrant, thriving life? First, the sad news is that Thoreau was right. Most people are leading quiet lives of desperation, lacking in meaning, fulfillment, and vitality. But we choose more. We choose to create extraordinary lives. And the Art of Vibrant Living show entertains you with inspiration, empowerment, and education to create your life into a masterpiece. It's time. Let's vibe up. Aloha, y'all. Welcome to the show. I am Daniel Aaron. I'm your host. This is the Art of Vibrant Living show. And we got a fun, cool show for y'all today. Something awesome and a bit different. I'll tell you about Shauntel, our amazing guest, very soon. First, though, this show is for you, to empower you to create your most vibrant, thriving life through all aspects of life that are important to you. And so I get amazing guests. I interview them. I draw gold from them, not just for your entertainment and inspiration, though. Please take something that you hear today, try it out, apply it in your life, right? Information is cool. Learning is cool. Action is where the rubber meets the road. And if you would like some support or just want to connect with me, please send me an email, daniel@danielaaron.com. I'd love to meet you and learn what's happening in your life and how I can help you support it to be even better. And on that note, here we go, getting better and better. Our guest today, Shauntel Murphy, is the founder and CEO of Wishing You Well in Life. How cool of a name is that? She's an inspirational speaker, business coach, and organizational consultant with over 2 decades of corporate experience. She's collaborated with C-suite executives, empowered entrepreneurs, mentored college students. She's got such a well-rounded background and has moved herself into the realm of coaching and teaching and speaking. What an awesome honor to have you with us, Shauntel. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Reverend Daniels. Thank you. I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Thank you. Me too. I've been looking forward to this for ages. So, and I got a little bit of an advantage, right, in that I know you and some of your gloriousness already. There may be a few people left in the world that don't yet know that. So would you fill us in a little bit on, what brought you to this point? Just give us a little bit of how you became an inspirational speaker and coach.
Absolutely. Definitely. Just always as a child, I knew that I had a heart to serve others. I just really didn't know in what capacity that was in. One of my first jobs was I was working for a Fortune 500 company as an administrative support, working on the front lines, working with the people, helping out other individuals. Then I started to climb the corporate ladder and I started working with C-suite executives. And that was very awesome, being in the room where decisions were being made, where initiatives were being implemented, working with the board members, serving our community, and seeing how we can re-engage employees and improve customer satisfaction. So with all of that being said, and me having a heart to serve, one of the things is that I wanted to explore that even deeper and see how I can get deeply connected with individuals, with leaders, and with teams. And that's what brought me to Wishing You Well in Life, because I really do wish everybody well in life. One of the things about it is changing the way that leaders lead, and then that transforms how workers work. And so with that work, it's been very passionate to my heart, and it's really been a phenomenal ride. I've been enjoying every moment of it, and I think that this is something that the economy needs right now even more, is for people to have the art of vibrant living in every single aspect of their life. I would hate for anybody to leave this earth and not have that fulfilled experience. So many of us, by the time we leave, we have an empty experience, and who really wants that?
I'm with you. Yeah. What nicely said. Thank you. So You've been in the corporate world in various ways for a long time. What what do you say? What's the biggest problem with the corporate world these days? What are you seeing?
What I'm seeing right now is just organizations where they're looking on how they can retain top talent, on how
Mm,
they can reduce turnovers. Right now, we have all these new coined words, burnout and work fatigue and the silent resignation. And they want to know how they can combat those things and
mm,
enhance and have a harmonious culture. And right now in corporate America, we have a lot of corporate killers. And some of those things can include a toxic environment where you have a lot of clicks, where you have a toxic environment where individuals aren't being rewarded properly, or most importantly, where we have these corporate environments where they claim that they do foster work life balance, but they don't. You might see individuals getting emails outside of their work hours. They're getting text messages on the weekend. And how can you really expect for your employees to perform if they're not really getting the balance that they actually do need? So, one of the things that I do want to give back and remind people is it's not about the work, it's about doing the work you were called to do. And it's
mm,
not about just life, it's about the best life that you can possibly have while giving yourself that balance. And that balance is actually self compassion and love.
mm, mm. Wow. Okay. Cool. Thank you. So, I mean, the first thing you said when I asked you is burnout, fatigue. Companies are losing top talent, and you gave a lot of potential reasons for that, and I'm sure they're all contributing. What would you say is the single most uh, damaging thing that's happening in corporations that are causing people not to want to continue working there?
Is the number one reason is not actually listening to your employees. They
Huh.
will actually tell you what they want is through feedback. And with that feedback, you can be able to turn around and in real time start to engage with your employees. Sometimes they don't really get the feedback until at the end of the year when they send out um, employee engagement surveys. And then they might see at the end of the year how they may have failed their employees or maybe been able to meet them halfway.
Mm,
But it's really essential to have meaningful conversations when you are having one-on-ones, when you are having team meetings, is to
mm,
take that time and to really see how they feel. What are their goals? What are things that you can improve now and also to in the future? So that's one of the first things that you can do is if you do want to retain your top talent is by listening to your top talent. They'll actually tell you what they need and what they want.
mm, mm. Gotcha. And w- I have an idea about this. I'm curious to know from your perspective, though. Why is that such a problem? What's the underlying cause of, I don't know, executives or management not being tuned in, say we could say, I guess, or not listening to what their employees are telling them they need?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that in business school, they teach you a lot. And a lot of the times, we have leaders that have high IQ levels. But now that we're starting to learn is EQ, emotional intelligence, is even more valuable and sustainable than IQ. And unfortunately, a lot of leaders, they're leading with IQ and not with EQ. And with emotional intelligence, it does give you the soft skills where you are able to actively listen to your employees, where you're actually able to build meaningful relationships with your team, where it's not just coming in and going through the back door to your office, having that heads down approach and just going through the motions of the day, but it's about coming in, saying hi to your team, having an open door policy where individuals feel welcome to come in and talk to you. And with that welcoming standpoint, now you're starting to gain trust. And with trust, that's how you're really able to build a team because now transparency is there and individuals are actually able to build off that trust. And then you're able to collaborate with a shared vision. But the
Mm.
most important thing as leaders today is to foster that meaningful concept and really learning about emotional intelligence.
That makes a lot of sense, and I can say as someone personally whose emotional intelligence and or social intelligence, maybe more than emotional, was so low at one point. I thought maybe I'm autistic. I'm not sure, and and I remember when I first read the book. Um, no like what's the book, Dale Carnegie's book, the How to Win Friends and Influence People, right?
Yeah.
I avoided the book for so long because I thought, oh, that sounds smarmy, that's about getting stuff from people. Turns out it was exactly the opposite of that. So going back to management, potentially, the biggest obstacle being low EQ, high IQ,
Mm.
right? And certainly one factor that's compelling corporations now to invest in coaches like you to help create a different culture, to create a different level of EQ in their executives is the bottom line, right? Because
Right.
money talks in that world, especially. Um, though beyond that, what would you say? How do you help the people you work with to value that? To value developing the soft skills and the EQ? How do you motivate them?
I motivate them by challenging them. The thing about it is that sometimes we're not aware of stuff until we're aware of things. So we can't find anybody at fault because they didn't know. But like you say, knowledge is power. So
Mm.
once you understand the value of emotional intelligence and having that awareness, is something you can't turn away from. Now you go from having a turnover rate to now having a high retention rate. And
Mm.
that's something that would be every leader's goal, is to have a high retention rate, because then as you do pass down your succession plan, now you have a pool of people who you can kind of work through and see who can take the stick from you, and then they can start to lead from there. So one of the things that I do love to do is I love to work with leaders and help them so that they can have a greater sense of their EQ, their intelligence level. And the thing about it is that you can practice this through simple things. It's not very complicated. Some of the best things that you can do is you can just practice self-awareness. Pay attention to your thoughts, your feelings, your reactions, and understanding your strengths and weaknesses. And one of the things to really have a greater sense of emotional intelligence is to manage your emotions. Don't let your emotions get the best of you in the boardroom. Learn how to take a step back. Learn how to fight those impulses. Learn how to actually emphasize with your team. Empathy is the key ingredient, I would say, with having a good sense of emotional intelligence. Putting yourself in that person's shoes, and that really gives you a good perspective of their feelings and how they perceive things. And
Mm.
also, too, I think that communicating effectively, that is one of the key gems to it all. Is sometimes we have to be careful how we do communicate, besides blaming people, besides saying, hey, you're always late to work. Start off by saying I statements. Say, I've noticed that you've always been late to work, and what can we do to fix this? So I think that those four things can be manageable. And once you start to use it more and more and more, it will be like second nature. And the more you do start to use it in your one on one meetings with your team, even with your family and friends, you will see how your relationship, it will go from more of just a surface level relationship to now it will start to get deeper and deeper, where now you start to understand individuals' intrinsic values on why they do show up to work or why they do certain things. And then you can really get the ball rolling. And that's how you fuse a good collaboration.
Wow. Okay. Awesome. I love that. Thank you. Okay. So then let me play angel's advocate for a moment with you. And so, if I was an executive and I just heard all that you said, and to role play it, I might say something like, we got work to do, and this stuff sounds like it takes a lot. I don't come to work to have a deep emotional conversation with my employees, right? It's bad enough I got to do that at home. So how are we going to get any work done if we're putting all this time into chit chat and all that stuff?
That's a great question. And the thing about it is, once again, it's easy to do. It takes a second out of your time. When you come in, you say hello to individuals. You ask them how their evening was. When you're in meeting spaces, besides getting right to the agenda, you can have an icebreaker where you can have a good icebreaking question where you're asking people, how do you honestly feel today? On a
Mm,
scale from 1 to 10, are you okay? By
mm,
having these check-ins, guess what? Now we've reduced burnout. Before it turns into burnout, it looks like work fatigue. It looks
mm,
like someone's overloaded. You look at their desk, they're disheveled. They have papers up to the ceiling. They look like they're frazzled. You ask them, have they taken a break? You ask them, how's the family doing? These things are simple things that you can do, but it helps you to communicate in the long run with your team. Emotional intelligence, it looks like you do care. You're curating these relationships where it's not going to happen in just one day. But if you lay the foundation day after day after day, now it starts to look like something really positive, and you do have more than just or more than just a surface level relationship with your team. Now you have something sustainable towards where now you're able to combat burnout. Now you don't have a high turnover rate because you're able to talk with your team. Through that open door policy, people now trust you, and they have built that relationship with you where now they feel like they can really talk to you, and you can really come up with a plan for them, and you can actually mentor your team. I'm a coach, but you can actually coach your team as well. It
mm.
doesn't have to be just a one way relationship as a leader where you just lead, but you can also to guide, and it's fostering true relationships.
Okay. Well, that's really helpful. I'm going to stay in role for a minute. I see what you mean. So it doesn't have to take that long. And if
Mhm.
if I do those things, I heard you say it'll look to them like I actually care. Is that right?
Right, because you will care. Yes.
Oh, okay. So it's not just about looking like I care.
It's not about just looking like you care, because it's not about the looks. Empathy, once you start to ask the questions, and I would say to leaders, do it within your authentic self. Don't just do something to be doing it, because it will come off as it's cheesy, and people know when it's not organic. People will not give you that buy-in for a real relationship unless they know that it is real. So it has to be real.
I'm with you. Okay. So stepping out of role for a moment, I remember many, many years ago, I went and saw the speaker Dan Millman, who's great speaker, author, and very funny in his talk that day. And he did this long piece in his talk about how important is sincerity. And then he said, "And if you can learn to fake sincerity, you got it made." So, Chantel, I love all that you're saying, and I can feel that that the work you do is important, and
Yes.
of course, changing corporate cultures is one of the powerful ways to shift the world for all of us. So, do when you reflect back on people or companies that you've worked with, do you have any stories come to mind of somebody or some company that was struggling in some way with what we've been talking about, and how you were able to help them with that?
Absolutely. I was recently partnering with one leader, and we were talking about emotional intelligence. And he just said that this is a little bit of fluff. What is this all about? Like, how can I do this? And so, what I was able to do was I was able to give him a 30-day EQ challenge. And within that 30 days, it was a mindfulness activity, and it's just about being aware of who you are, and if you're aware of who you are, then you're aware of how that does get illustrated to other people. And so some of these techniques are just regular mindfulness exercises, and a lot of them, it just starts off with just definitely just with meditation. So I was looking at what he did for lunch, and he pretty much didn't do anything for lunch. He just sat on the computer and he would eat while he was answering emails. So we transitioned him from being in the office to actually going to take a walk. Be
Mm,
one with nature. You don't have to go take a hike or go camping. It could be something as simple as just walking around your community, walking around the parking lot, but just going outside, taking a deep breath. That does a lot because now you're able to scan yourself. You're able to check in with yourself. How are you doing today? If you're not doing too well, then how can you serve other people? So you want to be able to identify how you're doing, taking good care of yourself, being mindful of your tone, your approach, being more intentional with your time. And then the next thing is actually embodying the fact of listening. Sometimes while people are talking to you, you're not listening to them because you're mentally thinking, what am I going to say back to this person? You think that you know what they're going to say, but you really don't know until you actually hear it.
mm,
So I challenged him to listen to what people have to say. And a lot of the times, people just really want to be heard. They're not looking for you to have that solution within that moment. It's just about listening to them and then repeating back what you've heard them say. And it's like, okay, I hear that you're saying this. I hear that you're saying that. Let me take some time to digest this. And then we can schedule a meeting within the next day so we can see how we can work together to solve this. So, just within that 30-day of being mindfulness challenge, it was actually a game changer. And
mm.
within those 30 days, he was actually able to not only change the way that he led, it changed the way that some of their systems were being implemented. By him actually being mindful, he was actually able to change the landscape of how his workers worked. They were able to remove themselves from being fully on site, but being able to have a remote, hybrid, and on site work style. They were able to do 4-day work shifts. And actually, they were able to actually implement mindfulness PTO days. Say, I'm having a day where I need a moment, and that's okay too. Anything that we can do to combat work fatigue before it gets to burnout, that's the whole mission. So, really happy to say that within the time that we did have within our 8-week period, he was able to gain so much knowledge just within those 30 days that he
Mm.
called fluff, but it actually was able to leverage him to a higher platform of where he really was able to engage successfully with his team.
Wow, that's amazing in 30 days. Oh,
Yes.
cool. Good on you. Okay. Well, fantastic. And let me check in here because if I'm remembering correctly, you were kind enough to offer a free gift for people in our audience. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes. I would like to encourage individuals, if you would like to learn a little bit more, is not to only just do the consultation. And usually that respectively takes anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. But I would like to extend that time today to your viewers and to just be able to give them a little bit more time so that we can extend it to maybe an hour and a half or an hour and 45 minutes. And the key takeaway here is that I will be able to listen to your goals, your aspirations. And what I will do is I will be able to put together a mini action plan, a mini roadmap, so that you can be able to really start to get some small wins under your belt. I want to be able to challenge you yourself so that you're able to start engaging on a different life. Take that transformative journey today and not tomorrow. If you're struggling with something, struggle no more. Let's give you the momentum that you need so that you can get revved up. As I said before, I would hate for anybody to have an empty experience here. Life is already short. We want to be able to be intentional and make the most of the time that we do have here.
Fantastic. That's very cool. So let me make sure I got it right and it's clear for our audience. You're offering a consultation and to really invest it. I heard you say up to an hour and a half of your time to understand people and help them break through with their goals. Yeah.
Correct. Yes. What I do offer is I want to be able to offer some small wins and then we can join forces together because the best way to help people is to actually help people.
Mm.
So I want to be able to help you in real time so that you can start to get that art of vibrant living. I think the key aspect of the art of vibrant living is living within your purpose. So I want you to have that feeling immediately and you can get that instant gratification.
Fantastic. Okay. And so for the audience that would like to take advantage of that, how's the best way to do that?
The best way to do that is definitely go onto my website and schedule the meeting, and then you can chat with me anytime on there. Go ahead and chat with me, send me an email, and definitely from there we can work together to find a time that works best with you. If you want to email me and lay out some of your questions, your concerns, I'll definitely be able to email you back and we can be able to charter the path that way. But just whatever way you would like to contact me, we can go ahead and just get the ball running. I think it's just important to just take the first step, which is action.
Okay, great. So this is this the correct URL for your website here?
Correct. Yes.
So I'm gonna read that out for the people in our audience who might be listening and not watching. And it's a bit long, so I will read it out, and you can come back and listen to this part again as you need to jot it down when you got the right space for it. It is https colon slash slash app dot DELENTA slash TA slash at Shauntel. And Shauntel's beautiful name is spelled SHAUNTEL.
And Reverend
That,
Daniel, I want to be able to repeat that because you missed something there. So
oh, thank you.
it's going to be HTTPS then backslash APP dot Delenta. That's DELENTA.com backslash T as in Terry, A as in Apple, backslash at Shauntel. And Shauntel is SHAU, N as in Nancy, T as in Terry, EL.
All right. Well, I'm glad you did that. You have a much more clear way of making all of that stand out so people got it. Thank you for that. Shauntel, our time is flying by, and I think we are right up to the last question, the big question. It's so big that it's actually impossible to answer because you got a wealth of experience, you got a big heart, and so but the impossible thing is great because it means you can't mess up. There's no way to get it right. And the question is this: if you had to distill all of your knowledge and experience, everything that you have inside you, and bring forward just one thing to say to our audience that would help them have their most vibrant, thriving life, what is that one thing?
One thing, oh wow, I would have to just narrow it down to these quick three things is to pursue personal growth. Never stop learning. Every day classes in session. So always sharpen your tools. Every day you should be challenged for growth. Number two, give back. We're nothing if we cannot contribute to our family, to our community, to the causes that we care so much about. Helping others always gives us a sense of purpose, and that helps others to have a vibrant art of living. And the last thing I would say is live in the present. Be mindful of what's happening now. Past, that's already happened. Can't do anything about it. The future is so obsolete, it's not even there. But what is here is now, the art of being in the moment now. So trust and admire the beauty around us and the world around you, and be true to your authentic self.
Well, I would not argue with any of those things. That's beautiful and really nicely said. Super inspiring. So Thank you, Shauntel. It's been just an honor and a delight to speak with you. I've learned a lot about the way you work and learned some things about the corporate world. So I really appreciate all the work you've done, all of your learning and growth, all of your contribution, and everything that you've done to help yourself to be so present as you are. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor. And I just really want to say thank you again for having me have this platform. And I look forward to working with everybody in the future. So thank you.
You are so welcome. Fantastic. And to y'all in our audience, thank you, right? Because you clearly are somebody who's not just interested in more vibrancy in your life. You're doing something about it. You're here with us. Thank you for your attention. Thanks for making the world a better place. I love you. See you later. Mahalo for tuning in to the Art of Vibrant Living show, y'all. I'm Daniel Aaron, and may you live with great vibrancy.